My dear fellows, today is the comeback of Rahul Gandhi. This has brought a glimmer of hope for a person like me. Although I had high hopes and also had full conviction that Apex body would get into the nitty gritties and will come up with its sagacious decision of restoring the faith in democratic setup in India, because the defamation case in which Rahul was implicated didn't really justify in any of its ruling, and Gujarat High Court had done a very bad precedence and charge sheeting, and also offering the verdict of the punitive and that's a maximum sentence of 2 years for such a defamation case, which is unheard of, and in the history of any of the court justice system, very rarely or probably no one has been slapped with such 2 years imprisonment just for the defamation. In fact, the court is mooting to make these defamation cases decriminalized. That means nobody will be will be punished, and with that too rigorous punishments in the name of defamation, and it's going to be just a civil suit wherein no criminal offenses will be saddled with. So giving the punishment of 2 complete years was actually badly intended and probably politically motivated, in the sense that some forces, they wanted Rahul to be out of the Lok Sabha, and they wanted him to be stripped of his parliamentary membership. No doubt this intervening period where he kept on sloganeering and then probably proving his point, and he refused to budge or offer any apologies despite the clamor from the ruling government that did to suffice that if he offers an apology. And even the complaint was so bizarre that the complaint was once reluctantly pursuing the case, and he withdrew the case, and then again he was goaded or he was instigated or provoked to go ahead with this, so that Rahul Gandhi stands stripped of his membership, and he doesn't qualify to be a parliamentarian to fight against the fascists or so-called forces which are hell-bent upon breaking down the cohesive and conducive atmosphere of our nation. But the court's pronouncement, although it's a stay, he has not been absolved of all the wrongdoings, and this is only but probably it's a big relief and a reprieve for him to get back to, and he's going to participate in the no confidence motion, which is afoot and is being served. In fact, today morning the opposition has already pressed ahead with its written appeal, and no confidence motion is going to be scheduled maybe today, tomorrow. Probably Rahul Gandhi will be the prime voice, and as is going to be as has been the case in the opposition main protagonist, who would again challenge and who would call for a fight face to face, and probably Prime Minister will be obliged to present himself and answer to the questions being raised at length, because that was the demand that the opposition has been pestering after. Article which allows for prolonged and deliberate discussion such an issue, and Manipur, which has in fact brought into light the apathy and the negligence or the irresponsible behavior of this double-engine government. Manipur's state government has failed, its machinery has failed. It has been passively a passive onlooker and has not been able to bring about peace or law and order, and all the informs, despite all the deployment of paramilitary forces and their simply shying away or brushing aside their hands and then simply telling that everything is all right, and so many thorny issues have been in the present disregard of our pressing concerns of that the state has been burning, and there are so many issues that needed to be brought into the parliament, as has been the case in the last couple of years. All those bills have been passed with thumping majority because the ruling government enjoys absolute power in sense that there's no opposition, and when it goes into voting, all votes are in favor. And that's how they have been able to brought about the Delhi Services Act, which is another brazen attempt at stripping the democratically elected chief minister of chief minister's powers, appointment of the key bureaucrats, and so his hands are clipped, and he's featherless, flightless bird, which cannot even appoint its own bureaucrats or choose their own people to work for. And this is unfortunate that, because Delhi has, as is the case with Delhi, is neither a union territory nor a state, and its status is not, it's an ambiguous status. And although BJP itself has been trying to accord the statehood to Delhi once, which has never been possible because of the unique state status of this, and the opposition has a valid reason of fearing that this ordinance and then bringing the ordinance into law, despite the Supreme Court ruling that the electoral government, state chief minister and his cabinet is all empowered to go ahead with administrative machinery as far as decisions of because as we know that in case of Delhi, the three key areas which already under the national government, and which is law and order, and then land, and also police. So in the first place, the government, like Kejriwal, the chief minister, he had tough time negotiating with or getting to go ahead with those proposals to be implemented, whether it's health or education, or whether it's roads and constructions or amenities, or so. It has been witnessed that chief minister always been like a crying baby, asking for and complaining about how he has never been allowed to live up to the expectations of Delhi's because his hands are tied. So this National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2023 is already under the hammer. It's under consideration, is going to be passed because there is no resistance or oppositions and votes. The government has the adequate number, and it's going to push through the bill down the throat of, despite all resistance. And so what is being actually apprehended or feared by other state machineries, which are non-BJP held or administered, that the ruling government might, under these pretexts, bring about some such ordinances despite the Supreme Court ruling and all that. In contrary to opposition to Supreme Court ruling that the state government should be allowed to act freely without getting infringed upon their basic rights of recruitment and transfers and bureaucrats to work. And so without bureaucracy and without the key appointments, and no government can survive it, because most of the decisions have to be made as per the requirement and considerations of the prevailing state of affairs. And if the state government, they take so much time through LG. The Mandeli is like lieutenant governor or governors in all the states. And they are the appointees and the nominal heads. And if they're allowed to enjoy unflinching powers and they intervene and they retract and those decisions taken by the state government, it's going to be tough sailing this turbulent ship. So the ship might be sunken one day, and probably it could be a pretext for the ruling government to promulgate ordinance after ordinances and bring about presidential rule or clip the wings of the democratically elected state governments. So this fear is not unfounded, and there is a tussle between the opposition ruling, and although the BJP government has plausible explanation of bringing about ordinance that this is simply certain appointments and is going to be done through the LG, and the state government shouldn't have unbridled hegemony in taking decisions, and Delhi is being a unique place where world dignitaries and embassies and all the security measures have been taken, but in that case, the police already is under central government, so they cannot blame the state government for law and order machinery failure and all that. So the ruling, the BJP government is going to have tough time dealing with the salvos and volleys of stinging questions Rahul Gandhi has been raising so far, and has been so vocal, and he has been branded as even anti-national traitors, and world over he has been moving around and bringing about that. There is a curtailment of the freedom of expressions, and under this government, people are not being allowed to enjoy even their basic rights of voicing concerns. And whenever it comes to dealing with some of the issues, so this is going to be a tough and stormy session ahead, because there are a couple of days left, or we have already squandered all the sessions just by shouting out and asking and clamoring for special proceedings for Manipur issues, because Manipur needs to be tackled in consultation with oppositions. And so although Rahul Gandhi is not blame free, but because it's only a stable this apex body, and apex body didn't find enough of the plausible justification for to saddle Rahul Gandhi with such a hefty the Gujarat government could have gone for a slightly lesser penalty of punishment, and thereby saving his parliamentary seat and membership. But on purpose, it was done on purpose, that Rahul Gandhi stands exposed, stripped, and he will not be allowed to even work as a parliamentarian. So it's a pathetic demise of the democratic elected government, when it shies away from facing the opposition face to face, and our Prime Minister didn't bother to even come up with a statement inside the House, although he was so forthcoming and categorically in his vow to bring back normalcy in Manipur within no time, and no culprit will go unpunished. And so there is a reprieve, and there is a reprimand as well for the Rahul Gandhi, that he is a public figure and he should abstain from indulging in such sort of passing remarks which defames or goes against the norms, or so he shouldn't indulge in unparliamentary overtures. And so all the restrictions measure is already affected, and it's very immediate effect. And I was so delighted, in fact, to find him back in the parliament, because somehow people have it's increasingly becoming a common knowledge that Rahul Gandhi shed his previous image of being just a novice, inexperienced leader who cannot lock horns with such a towering Modi and his conglomerates, or those kind of. So now, since the opposition is up in arms and we stand united, and also has had his 2 sessions in Patna and Bangalore, vowing to stay in unison and express solidarity and fight the elections, and they are hammering it out. They're going to come up with a formula, which common amendment program, where they will talk about seats sharing, and that's going to happen in Mumbai, where they will be offered a dinner by Uddhav Thackeray. And so, and the first thing that Rahul Gandhi did, he went to see Lalu Prasad Yadav in his home, and he prepared mutton and offer him food. And so there is something up in the air, although it seems to be filmy, and we never had any hope of having any solidified opposition to stand against BJP government, which perhaps has started believing itself to be only a national party with the hidden agenda of having to crush all the opposition, and especially its mantra of Congress Mukt Bharat. There won't be any other party except BJP with 400 and all. And they're still claiming that for the next coming many more years, the country is going to stay unilateral, uni-party government, which is not the hallmark of a good democracy and one of the largest democracies. So it's a good news for all of us who have restored faith in the judiciary as well as. So it's a victory for justice and democracy. That's why Mallikarjun Kharge, Shashi Tharoor, these guys have come up, and they have been jubilant. There have been all out celebration in the streets and also the parliament, and probably it's expected that, I'm not sure, that Rahul Gandhi is going to lead the entire pack of these all the tamed but pack of wolves. They're going to devour, and they're going to pounce upon the ruling government, and the Prime Minister will have to be held accountable. He will have to open his mouth, can't stay mum over this the debacles that the country is faced with. And then there have been untoward other rights incidents in the other states, which itself is suggestive of that everything is not right. It was what's happening in even BJP ruled states. Forget about the non-BJP ruled states. So it's a victory for justice and the democracy, and it's a enormous release also for because Rahul Gandhi has been simply suffering, and he never shied away, and he said he's not ready to extend an apology because he doesn't find himself to be really passing such any defamatory or bad remark. It could be in a bad taste, and he should have abstained from. But during the electioneering campaign, most of the towering leaders, they indulge in brickbatting, exchanging of airy fires, and they express their wrath. They also express their anguish or resentment, and they indulge in resorting all kinds of filthy languages. I mean, there have been even the leaders from the ruling parties, they have indulged in abusive language, and I'm like, and that's known to the whole world now, and they have been awarded, richly awarded with plum positions in the cabinet. Anurag Thakur is one of them. Is the senior minister, cabinet minister, and he indulged in all sorts of filthy, slandering and incendiary speeches, and that was openly done. I remember, it was in Delhi, and I had witnessed all those news, and I was aghast at that. How could parliament and incumbent parliament could indulge in such sort of, how could they stoop so low? So Rahul Gandhi we should take care of him, and he has also grown wiser with the time and experience, and he is into the he's no more the same Gandhi I had seen or have hoped for, that he stay. So the restoration of Rahul Gandhi in Lok Sabha membership, and then his becoming the sole warrior of the torchbearer of the unity behind all the opposition, like 26 the parties that join hands, and then the rallying force, because Rahul Gandhi is again going to rake up those issues in person in the parliament, and that won't be shied away like that, because he's going to rake up the issue of this Hindenburg report, and then how his proximity to these businessmen, and how the crony capitalists have been gaining ground and been and at the cost of the commoners, and how these farm bills have been proven to be. So the whole host of issues going to be raised. So what is heartening to note is that now there is an opposition kicking and alive, and that's what makes our democracy robust. And also the third pillar of a democracy, like the judiciary, which has stood like a rock, and which has really come up to the expectation of the commoners in bringing about justice and fairness, where undeserved punishment or a kind of vendetta politics, that's a clear case regarding Gandhi's stripping of his membership, will not be tolerated anymore. And probably there would be a time when this anti-defamation, which is an age-old British system, and this is simply brought about, or anyone can slap an anti-defamation case and bring it to the court, and it's a waste of time and energy of the judiciary, because it's given the instance of freedom of expressions in our country, anyone could indulge in sorts of exchange of incendiaries, and probably is well intended or not well intended, but it will have some connotations or certain So every time, even our movies are being released, and then every section, with this section and that section, the community gets offended by simply getting represented in a bad light, or in a. So this is like a ploy for all those community members, individuals, and what he has said is about not that all Modi and are thieves and all. He said that accidentally or by chance, whoever is implicated in any of the scams and all turns out to be within a name of a surname of Modi. And anyway, the one who brought about this case, he himself withdrew, and then he was reluctant, then he was pushed for it, and then he was there was a story behind it, and there was something fishy about this. And the whole world, and even the judiciary knew that. Supreme Court, it was a common knowledge that the Gujarat government pronouncement was not in line with the lawful act of punishing the people on the grounds of this anti-defamation case. So Gandhi has started his new, like he had already had a Dandi March. Now, this the United Front, the opposition has called itself India, which is uh, being already brought into the focus by our prime minister, saying that this is like India Mujahid in India and Amod. I mean, like it's a nomenclature that doesn't suit those opposition parties. And India is being brought into focus multiple times, maybe for the right reason, for the wrong reasons, but of course I'm happy that now India is into focus, not Britishers and the ex-congressmen and Jawaharlal Nehru and what was done in the last 70 years. At least we're talking about the present India now, and there will be quite more adjournments, and there could be ruckus in the house and the lower house and upper house, but the drama is on. The show must go on, and we have the real fight. It's like gladiator is in the Lok Sabha back, and I see a lot of enthusiasm and zest in Rahul Gandhi for fighting it back, and he appears to be a righteous, rightly intended person who speaks his mind all the time and he never shies away from being lethal, vocal, and his outspokenness worldwide. He has been to the other nations, and that's why our prime minister fears him the most in the parliament, and he probably would not be happy to see him back. So there will be more uproar, more ruckus, and there'll be more of solidarity, more of resistance, and more of democracy at work in the true spirit. And that's how India is known for. That's what India is known for. And I would love to say that all the united parties, they rally around and they pester after all their legitimate and demands and forcefully bring to focus all the teething issues that India is really facing war, nationwide, and it's not just one state. And also economically, we're not doing far better than what we used to. So this is reckoning time for Modi's government, because election is at hand, and Modi's like all the campaign for publicizing its and blame game is not going to work anymore. Wishing the very best for our country, our robust democracy with a formidable opposition, and also bring about the right decisions with the right outcome in the next election, which I will be waiting with the bated breath and hoping to bring about the best for our nation. Thank you, guys.